Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of this Off the Sprue special edition. You'll remember in the first video I started doing some preparations for a Orange River paddling trip. This video is the culmination of all that preparation, and I'll talk you through the trip itself. It's about 6 hours drive to reach Hopetown from my hometown, and unfortunately, due to years of government neglect, our roads are in a terrible condition, as you can see. Fortunately, no trouble for our little Suzuki Jimny. The section of the Orange River that we'll be paddling is right in the center of the country. It's from Hopetown to Douglas. The Orange River, of course, being one of the biggest rivers in South Africa. The route starts here in Hopetown, and you've got this very prominent bridge going over the Great Orange River. Quite a lot of logistics that need to be done beforehand. The boats are dropped off. All the vehicles are then taken to the end at the Kalk farm, and all the drivers are then brought back. And once that is done, we can start paddling. Because of all the driving and the logistics, the first day is a short paddle, only about 2 hours and 10 kilometers. And really this just serves to get you back into your boat, get you comfortable, and prepare you for the next 2 or 3 days worth of paddling. And there's some getting used to, for instance, me hitting rocks all the way from the beginning. We started paddling way back in 2004, and fortunately it seems we still have the skills to do this. This is quite interesting. This is an iron bridge. This bridge dates from 1863, when diamond exploration and diamond mining was just starting in South Africa. Lunchtime arrived, and the first MRE that I tried was the Sloppy Joe mixture. At first I planned to eat this with the crackers, the MRE crackers, but this is such a tasty meal that I sort of forgot about the crackers altogether. These packets are quite easy to open without a sharp tool, for which I was glad because I left my Leatherman tool back in the boat. But there you go, that is absolutely delicious. As with all MREs, this is not the type of food that you should look at while you're eating it, but there's definitely nothing wrong with the flavor. And you'll see once I got going, I couldn't put this down. I chowed this down in record time, forgetting all about the crackers. And for a first MRE meal, this was certainly fantastic. Very delicious. Sloppy Joe mixture scores a very high 4 out of 5. At the end of the day's paddling, we reach our first campsite, and by this time that kid was done with this whole paddling business. First thing to do is to set up camp. There was rainy weather the whole 3 days, so we tried to get set up as quickly as possible. Everything I filmed was filmed with GoPros as well as my mobile phone, and I kept things charged up with a very large power bank. Of course, one of the wonderful things about a trip like this is all the opportunities to do some photography, and this being the Orange River, it just did not disappoint. Day 2 is a longer paddle, and it also includes the largest rapids on the entire route. For lunch, I'll be having jalapeno cheese spread and crackers, as well as the beef ravioli, and just to be safe, some hot sauce as well. A word about some of the gear that we use. First is something called a spray deck, this little dress that you wear. This will form a seal between yourself and the boat, so there's no water coming in. And then over this is your life jacket, your personal life preserver. And of course, protection against the sun, you'll need a hat. Everything tied on with a piece of string. Want dat is goed en we'll slide on. Yes, and to be honest, our boats were like super heavy. We carried a lot of fresh water. Like most rivers, the Orange River has become polluted, especially with agricultural pollutants, and we carried along a fair amount of drinking water. The first rapid of the day is called Hubbly Bubbly, and this needs to be scouted beforehand before we run it, and honestly this scares the living shit out of me every time I see it. I think the noise more than anything else. The tall gentleman there is called Robbie Arafeld. He's the guide and also the owner of the company through whom we're doing all these trips. He is a very knowledgeable person.
There's no natural weir there, there's no pushing through. You can see the water moving all the way through.
So do you hit it in the middle there?
On this trunk.
Okay.
Just to the right of these rocks.
Okay.
So what you do is when you come down, you just follow the apexes of the wave. Straight over the apexes of the wave.
Okay.
And then you'll be on line, straight through the middle.
Okay.
The worst part's there.
Yeah.
Robbie has a very impressive racing career. He's got national colors in kayaking, and I believe some of the records that he set up on the Berg River Canoe Marathon still stands to this day. And then it's my turn. Strange with these things, you get to a certain point more or less here where there's no return. You hear the noise, the boat starts to speed up, and then you just need to start paddling like hell. And that was a big hit, and half the Orange River went up my nose. But I made it through unscathed and in one piece. One of the larger double boats didn't make it, and fortunately there's many people around just to give a helping hand and to make sure that everyone makes it back to dry land.
That's not the way it's supposed to work. Yeah.
Folks, now this mass of angry boiling water is called Hell's Gate. Normally this is actually a small waterfall. The entire Orange River forces itself through a very narrow gap in the rocks. But because of the high water level, Robbie and one of the other paddlers could take some of the bigger boats through. This is very technical paddling, and we were happy to leave it to the Whitewater boys to take the boats through. Here we have a cockpit view from the master himself. That, folks, is the form of a man that spent most of his youth in a kayak. This is Tony, one of the other paddlers. He has some experience in whitewater paddling, it certainly shows. For the rest of us mere mortals, we had to carry our boats around, and this is always a part that sucks very heavily. So after the portage, time for lunch, and today I'm having the crackers as well as the jalapeno cheese spread. The crackers did not make it through unscathed. I think they got crushed in the dry bag a little bit because they were in 1,000 pieces. The taste was good, but to be honest, I think the South African crackers that I took along might be a little bit better tasting. Of course, the jalapeno cheese spread is absolutely divine. You can actually taste the jalapeno pepper.
Jalapeno cheese spread. Yeah.
And for lunch, I had the beef ravioli. This was actually quite fantastic. I ate half and then ate the other half back at camp later that evening, and the taste is certainly very good. I'll give it a solid 3.5 out of 5. Of course, the jalapeno cheese spread scores a solid 5 out of 5. If I don't give the jalapeno cheese spread perfect marks, many angry veterans will message me telling me that how dare I speak so poorly of their beloved jalapeno cheese spread. One of the things that was a real nuisance on this trip was these clouds of tiny flies and gnats, and they were just everywhere. And we ended up covering ourselves, covering your nose and your mouth the best you could. They still got in everywhere, I mean, in your eyes, in your ears, everywhere. And they seem to be especially fond of the rapids. This one is called Sidewinder for a very good reason. You go through straight and all of a sudden it smacks you from the side. Nearly lost it there, and that's where the name Sidewinder comes from. And after this rapid I had to clear a fair amount of insects from my ears and from my nose. We arrived at Camp 2. This is situated on a rocky outcrop above the river. And, the missus is not so much into MRE, so we had some freeze-dried lamb fettuccine for dinner. Day 3 is the longest battle. All the large rapids are past us now, and for the most part we'll spend our time in there's a lovely channel through the black rocks called Thunder Alley. This place gets its name from the sound of the river going through this rocky section, and it really sounds like thunder sometimes. Of course, the gnats were there in full force again as well. You can clearly see the landscape changing at this point. The river is much more gentler. There's some opportunity for swimming for a few brave souls. My lunchtime meals were starting to generate more and more interest from my fellow paddlers. This is cheese tortellini.
It's so easy. There's a chemical heater. You just pour water into it. It generates a hell of a lot of heat, and you slip this packet in there, and it heats up the ration. No smoke. No. Yeah, I'm eating it cold now.
But you can't buy those.
No, well, I haven't seen them here, and if you get them here, they'll be super expensive.
So get a friend. Get a friend in the army. Yeah.
Just like this is lekker, eh?
Like oaks in up there in Afghanistan, they eat well.
Yeah, some of this stuff is really nice. Yesterday I had
Sloppy Joe, isn't it?
Sloppy Joe mix was nice. Jalapeno cheese spread was nice.
So folks, there you have it. Cheese tortellini is the highest scoring MRE to date. Full 5 out of 5. We arrived at Camp 3. It was seriously hot, and after setting up the tent and leaving some gear out to dry, we set up a little shelter in the rocks just to guard us against the sun. This was also an opportunity to sample the MRE chocolate pudding. The engineer insisted that we follow the instructions precisely.
Kijk, daar is omtrent de halve.
Okay. Dus moet ik hem openmaken. Ruik hem.
Dan moet je de eerste kap ingooien. En dan kun je ook een shakes voor een minuut laten. En dan moet je het te stir.
Stir hem. Lekker.
Ja, oké.
Ja.
Goed. Consume rapidly.
Oeh. Ik heb een spoen nodig.
Zo.
Oh wow.
Zijn het gezakt voor jullie van de weer?
Ik heb stakken doen vol.
Ook het gedraaid.
Damn, het is lekker. Best one so far.
So there we go, folks. MRE chocolate pudding. It scores a very definitive 6 out of 5. This is my favorite campsite of all the ones we visited. It's just in the middle of nowhere. There's no people around for miles, and it's just absolutely pristine nature at its very best. So the last day consists of packing up all your gear. It's almost sad when you reach this point, but part of you also wants to go home now. I was quite impressed with the power bank that I brought along. I was able to keep all the equipment powered for the full duration of this trip, and it certainly made a difference to be able to get all the footage that I wanted for this video. And just like that, we're at the Kalk Farm. This is also the site of the discovery of the first diamond in South Africa, I believe. And this is the final destination of the group. This was a very enjoyable trip. Thank you to my friend Chris, Brailscale, as you will know him on Instagram, for kindly supplying me with the MREs. They were certainly very helpful on this trip. I'm very impressed with them. The taste was fantastic. Looking forward to seeing everyone in the next videos, and I'll be returning to scale modeling again. This was just a slight detour. Thank you for watching.